Hello, my name is Anuj, and this is an overview of few-shot batch incremental road object detection. Object detection is the task of finding and classifying objects in an image. When we do this with just k-training samples, we call this k-shot object detection. We have a base detector D that can detect some certain set of classes called the base classes. We now want to add a new set of classes N to this detector's detection ability. But the caveat is that we only have k-training samples for each of the new classes, and the images that we have annotations only belonging to the new classes. Hence the term few-shot batch incremental. And since we're applying this to the road context, road object detection. Our motivation behind doing this is to add the ability to detect rare classes with limited samples. And we want to use this to mine for more rare class data so we can improve autonomous vehicle and ADAS performance particularly. And we want to apply this technique to the India driving dataset to get an idea of things in the Indian context. So the India driving dataset is a driving dataset that was obtained by driving through some cities in India, and it contains vehicles and drive sequences that are specific to the Indian context. For example, there is an auto rickshaw, which is a very Indian class that you're unlikely to see anywhere else, present in a lot of the images that we have. You can see the full statistics behind the dataset at the bottom right here. These are the classes that we deal with. Our normal classes are those that are uncommon on Indian streets, but not ones that you are never going to see. They do show up in some rare occurrences. They are tractor, streetcar, water tanker, and excavator. So existing work, be it the traditional methods, few-shot detectors or incremental detectors, have some drawbacks. The traditional methods require abundant data and suffer from something called catastrophic forgetting. Catastrophic forgetting is where in an incremental learning scenario, you forget the classes that you had previously learned to detect. The few-shot detection techniques and the incremental detection techniques tend to be separate entities. That is, the few-shot ones are not incremental and the incremental ones are not few-shot. The only paper that aims to tackle both of these problems at once is the open-ended CentiNet by Perez-Dua et al. In CVPR 2020, but they had rather poor results, achieving only a 1.2 AP score on the COCO novel classes. So our approach, Dual Fusion, combines two different networks together in order to enhance both base and novel class performance. And we do this by having a base detector for base classes, a novel detector for novel classes, and a fusion network that can reclassify overlapping proposal regions that are identified by both detectors. This is what the architecture looks like. When an image enters the pipeline, it's fed to the backbone of both the base class detector and the novel class detector, and it proceeds to their individual region proposal networks. These RPNs give us proposal regions, and these proposal regions give us an idea of whether or not the detector thinks that there may be an object of interest present here. We then do a step called proposal segregation, where we split the proposals into three categories: base proposals and novel proposals, indicating that this proposal must belong to a base class or a novel class respectively, and an overlapping proposal, which indicates that both detectors think that there is an object of interest in this region. The base and novel proposals are handled by their own detectors as usual, but the novel proposals, whose flow is seen through green arrows, are fed through both detectors. From both detectors, we extract their features as well as their logits, and we concatenate them together and pass them through a fusion network. And the fusion network learns to discriminate and take features from both detectors to identify what objects are present in overlapping regions. We then do a final detection post-processing step, and we combine the detectors with standard techniques like non-maximal suppression to get our final detection output. So how is Dual Fusion trained? First, we train the base model, and we have access to only base class annotations here, with usually an abundance of data. We then train the novel model. Here we only have n into k images. N is the number of novel classes, k is the number of training samples. In our case, it's 4 into 10. And in these images, only the novel classes are annotated. The base classes are not annotated at all. That being said, because we're using road object scenes, we know that there's a very high likelihood of base classes being present in these images, just that they're not annotated. And so we use a base detector to find the presence of base classes in these images. Once we do that, we remove detections that intersect with the true novel bounding boxes, and we create a new data set, which contains true novel annotations and mined base class annotations. And we feed this to the fusion network, which is then trained on this data set. So why bring this fusion network into the picture in the first place? Well, it's because without a fusion network, the two networks will not communicate with each other, and we'll see base novel confusion and erroneous detections. As you can see on the image on the left, without a fusion network, the same region is predicted as both a base class and a novel class. But with a fusion network, we only have a novel class. And this is because we can ensure that the two detectors are able to communicate with each other to a certain degree, and regions that are similar and contain similar features to both the base and normal classes can be handled by the Fusion network instead of introducing confusion with both the detectors. Here are our qualitative results, a small sample of our qualitative results. The top row shows the effects of faster RCN and fine-tuning, and the bottom row is our technique. We can see with fine-tuning that there is clear base class forgetting, and we don't have very great normal class performance. On the other hand, dual fusion is extremely powerful because it's able to detect the normal classes as well as retain its ability to detect the base classes, even under regions of large shadow like C, and in noisier more environments with more objects present like in D. Here are the raw numbers. In short, dual fusion is superior for two of the normal classes, the highest base performance as well as the highest overall performance. FuX has the highest normal class performance for two categories and the highest overall normal class performance. But the problem is that FuX is unable to detect base classes, making it useless for our scenario here. And we can take dual fusion beyond just road scenes, because any scenario where base classes are likely to be present along with normal classes will work with dual fusion. We tried an experiment on the COCO dataset and found that 71 of the 80 total classes were obtained during the fusion dataset creation step. In terms of raw numbers, we are about 7 AP points below once on base class performance and about 3 AP points below once on all class performance, but over 6.6 times higher performance on normal classes, where we go from 1.2 all the way up to 9.9. And the reason our all class performance is 3 points below is because there are more base classes than there are normal classes, meaning that there is a slight bias in the all score towards the base classes. So to conclude, dual fusion solves the problem of catastrophic forgetting and base normal confusion when dealing with an incremental few shot learning setting. It's very easy to implement and it's very useful for continual data mining situations. Now the caveat here is that it's only suitable when the normal classes need to be incremented at once. This isn't a lifelong technique and we can't increment normal classes one at a time. It's suitable for scenarios where the base model will be updated after sufficient data is collected and we want to add in a bunch of new classes in at once to mine for. The biggest drawback, however, is that dual fusion is computationally very expensive because we have two different detection networks along with the fusion network intersecting the two of them. We found that a run of about one image could use up to 6 gigabytes of GPU memory, and we were getting a frame rate of about 2 to 3 FPS on a standard NVIDIA Titan X. Thank you for your time.